These last few years, we've been through this terrible drought with the limited water we have in this state, or we couldn't get enough to make it all the way through the season.
Most Utahns know that we are handling a finite natural resource in water.
Over the next 10 years, we will run out of water in Washington County. Iron County is right there with them, and we're hitting record lows on the amount of water that's in the Great Salt Lake.
And it's really a dire situation with living in the desert. And if we're not conserving water, and not only does life not continue to progress, but livelihoods don't continue to progress. We need both to be successful.
The legislature has worked the last couple of years to identify ways that we can fix problems at the local level through specific projects and individual initiatives.
Welcome to the third annual Utah Water Policy Symposium. Since we first started meeting to discuss ways we could help the Great Salt Lake, we have made tremendous progress in water conservation and efficient management practices that have truly changed the way Utahns think about water in our beloved state. Today, we hope to build upon that momentum and expand the conversation. Let's take a holistic view and address the challenges of all of Utah's water systems, from the Bear Lake to the Colorado. Before we begin, let's take a moment to reflect on the incredible accomplishments we have made over the last year to safeguard our water resources and responsibly plan for Utah's water future.
I appreciate the opportunity to present to this body First Substitute HB 491.
HB 491 was a really important step in this. What the bill does is it creates the Great Salt Lake Commissioner position, and I get the job of trying to wrangle 12 or so government agencies and trying to make sure that all of the activities that we're taking on as a state in regards to the Great Salt Lake really are coordinated and make sense. The Great Salt Lake is something that really all of us have to care about because it is such an important resource for the state of Utah. One of the real challenges we face is trying to make sure that we have sufficient water getting into the Great Salt Lake. And the legislature's inputs over the last few years have really helped us.
Things like HB 349 allow us to look at water moving forward to ensure that water that is intended for the Great Salt Lake makes it there, because as we grow and develop, the discharges that come from some of our wastewater treatment plants aren't automatically seen as another way to irrigate additional acres or water more lawns, but rather as an important part of the system that is the Great Salt Lake. Bills like HB 513, which established the rules for the Great Salt Lake as it continues to diminish and decline, setting parameters about how much we can take out of the lake for mineral development and what we need to do to safeguard to ensure that the lake is here in perpetuity.
The legislature's really found a vested interest in trying to make sure that we have enough water for all of us, and that's meant a huge investment in water conservation statewide. We've seen over $1 billion in water conservation projects, and that's made a real difference in how we do ag optimization as well as how we monitor and measure how much water we have in the state.
HB 307 was passed by the state legislature, which does a couple things. It gave us some tools and a center, if you will, a place where we can center our ideas, center our programs, and center our messaging out to the public. And I'm very excited about the fact that we will start now talking about a unified approach to water conservation statewide. All partners have to come forward and solve this issue in unison. I'm very excited about the fact that some of our private sector partners have already stepped up. Utah Waterways is a unique opportunity to change the narrative of how we deal with water and our usage in the state of Utah.
As a mayor of one of the fastest growing cities in the state, a desert community, a thriving community, we have to be out in front of water issues. The state legislature has been really helpful to local municipalities. I think specifically of House Bill 450 with landscape requirements, and then also of Senate Bill 118 with the water conservation initiatives. Now we're able to incentivize the removal of grass and transforming that into a desert scape. There's been about 2 million square feet of grass removed statewide. And what I find interesting is that residents here locally, they want to do the right thing. When you talk to them about living in a desert and acting like that, they want to get rid of the grass and they want to do the right thing. And so this is good policy because it allows them to do that, and it gives them a little money. It doesn't cover the full cost of it, but it helps them get where they want to be and where we collectively need to be. Our regional reuse initiative down here is really the undertaking of our time. It allows us to put miles and miles of pipe in, and it allows us to construct additional reservoirs, which increases our storage capacity. We're able to recapture that and reuse and reuse and reuse our current supply while we continue to develop any additional source that we may have locally.
Today we're just outside of Newton, Utah on Rigby Ranch, which is a 5th generation cow-calf and farm. It was homesteaded in 1870 by my great-great-grandfather.
Senate Bill 277 was a blessing to our community. It made it possible for our farmers during this drought to succeed.
As ag producers, we really appreciated the Water Optimization Grant Program because it's given us some resources that we could leverage against other monies to accomplish some of these projects, improve our irrigation, be more efficient with the limited water we have in this state. Both are more profitable for us and are better for the environment.
But statewide problems also need localized solutions, which is why the legislature has worked the last couple of years to identify ways that we can fix problems at the local level through specific projects and individual initiatives.
Cities play a huge role in managing the state's water, and the state has set incredible guidelines and set great goals for water conservation. Discovering how to manage our water has been a pivotal role in planning and shaping Vineyard's growth. But we're also leaning into bills like HB 282 that give us the ability to put in water-wise conservation efforts. One of the things that we've done is lean into the Flip the Strip program. We designated 1.5 miles of strip to be flipped in our community, and we've also begun changing our detention basins into xeriscape landscaping. All of this allows us to save millions of gallons of water that would otherwise be lost.
As a growing state, Utah faces a lot of challenges moving forward. Transportation, housing. But over the last few years, water has been one of the state's biggest challenges.
We're going to have to solve all these problems together. The people care about what the state looks like, what the lake looks like, what the water supply looks like for our future generations. We'll need all players in the state of Utah to do their part.
And as we look forward into the future, we need to ensure that the water is here for not only my family and my community's family, but for the state.
Those are the type of things that are going to make a real difference and help us make ends meet into the future.
So if we want to continue to have that prosperity, this amazing place to live, then we need to continue our focus on conservation locally. It's really the best thing we can do for not only our current generation, but future generations to be able to have housing and jobs and all of those things that they strive for.
Solutions don't just come from legislative sessions. They come from city council meetings. They come from planning commissioners. They come from our kitchen tables all across the state.
We look forward to engaging with state and local leaders to discuss the future of Utah's water.
Together we can protect our water and secure a prosperous future for Utah.